Welcome to another video. Walk on the Wild Side, and I'm here in Blackpool. I am just in front of the famous Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Here it is. We've got the big one behind me. It opened in 1994 and it was the tallest, fastest roller coaster in the world at the time. It held the title for 2 years, and it's one of the modern landmarks of Blackpool that you can see from a long way. So the biggest thing since Blackpool Tower, which was built in 1894. So the Blackpool Tower's a little bit older. Will this still be here in another, well, I don't know, will it last as long as Blackpool Tower? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but the Pleasure Beach is in a little bit of trouble. They lost 2.7 million last year, and that came on the back of a $500,000 loss the year before. So it's a bit of a worrying time at the moment. Cost of living crisis and all that. And there was a theme park in southwest Wales, was it Pembrokeshire, called Oakwood, that closed down. And there's been a few other theme parks closing down. I'm not sure about America, whether some have closed down, probably closed some down over there. So it's a little bit of a tough time at the moment. So anyway, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But firstly, I just want to ask you, if you're not subscribed to the channel, if you love Blackpool, all things Blackpool, that's what I cover on this channel. Get subscribing. It doesn't cost anything. I usually say that at the end, but there's nobody watching at the end of a video, so hopefully you'll stick with me to the end of this one. I'll tell you a bit more about what's going on here after this. Check it out, what I've just found here, crawling across the promenade. Any idea what this is? It looks a bit like a super-size woodlouse. What do you reckon? Check out the Irish Sea, look at this here. It looks like we've got high tide, but in fact high tide was, well, I don't know, I think it was a couple of hours ago, but it's still well in here at South Shore. Just look at all the seaweed on these hexagon things here that they've got on the seawall here, yeah. Check it out, look. A little bit choppy. Yeah, it's a little bit gloomy today actually. We had a really, really nice day yesterday. Sunshine from the word go, light winds. It was a lovely day yesterday. Now the Pleasure Beach is not actually open during the week at the moment. It's open at the weekends. And actually this part of the promenade is usually pretty quiet. I mean, I've virtually got the whole promenade to myself. Look at that down there. That's looking towards the mirror ball. And if I point this way, we can see the latest edition, well, one of the latest editions of the Pleasure Beach, the Boulevard Hotel there. Quite swanky. We're looking up towards the, you know, the big one. And I've been on quite a few roller coasters. It's absolutely huge. It's a great ride. But I've also been on quite a lot of the rides in America. I've been on Magnum at Cedar Point. Actually, that's my favourite steel roller coaster, Magnum. But I'll tell you something though, you cannot beat the first drop on the big one at the Blackpool Pleasure Beach, because you're looking out over this. It's looking at me. It's definitely looking at me. Tell you what, the sun's starting to break out now. It might turn into a nice day here after all, after a bit of a gloomy start. But anyway, I'll just read out the report here from the news about the loss at the Pleasure Beach. Park bosses have revealed they're struggling with visitor numbers and have not recovered since the pandemic. So a lot of this goes back to the pandemic, doesn't it? Yeah. 2020, 2.7 million pre-tax loss. So what they're going to have to do, what they have been doing actually for the last few years, is they have been closing rides and opening certain rides at certain times of the day. So some of the rides haven't been opening until sort of midday or even sort of into the afternoon, you know. There's a channel I watch, it's called Coaster Dad. He's quite good, so if you want to find out a little bit more about Blackpool Pleasure Beach from someone who goes there quite a lot and goes to lots of other theme parks around the country. Coaster Dad, I'll put a link to his channel. He's always in the place. I mean, I don't even go to the Pleasure Beach that often, to be quite, even though I live here. But I remember in the olden days, we used to go to the Pleasure Beach. We didn't live that far away from here. We were from South Shore, and we used to just walk up. In the days where you could walk into the Pleasure Beach. Remember those days when you could walk in? And nowadays, of course, it's all changed now. You have to pay to get in. Obviously, if you book online, you can get in a lot cheaper. They're open all week from April. At the moment, they're only open at weekends, but they will be open all week from April when the main season starts. But yeah, the old days are... I've got a lot of people moan about that, the way you can't just walk in and you have to pay to go in. So if you just rock up here and you happen to see the Pleasure Beach, you might not even know about the place. You might say, oh, look at this theme park here, let's see if we can just go into this theme park. Well, you have to pay to go in, whereas in the olden days you could just walk in. And I remember, I think one of the reasons why they stopped that was for security reasons. They had like roving gangs of football fans, when football fans would come to Blackpool to watch a team, or maybe watch a team nearby, and they'd come to Blackpool to spend a bit of time here, and they'd all go into the Pleasure Beach in big, massive gangs. And there used to be quite a bit of trouble, but it's certainly stopped that now. But I know a lot of people are kicking off about the pay to entry, especially if you're not going on any of the rides. When you have to pay so much to get in, I think on the door it's something like £50. I mean, something £50. That's a lot of money to pay if you're not going to go on a ride. I think they do have some concessions for that, but if you book online it's a whole lot cheaper anyway, so it's not too bad. But I think it's pretty good value myself. I actually think it was, I understand some people when they say that, oh, I wish we could go in, just walk in there like you could in the old days, but I kind of think they had to move with the times a little bit and do what all the other theme parks have done, like Alton Towers and Thorpe Park, where you have to pay to get into those. Although the Pleasure Beach being a little bit different, it's in Blackpool. Lots of people come to Blackpool, not necessarily to go to the Pleasure Beach, but if it was open to everybody and free to go in, you might just go in. But seeing as you have to pay a fair whack to get in, it puts a lot of those people off. But anyway, we'll carry on with this. It's almost 130 years old. It'll be 130 next year. And they're actually going to be opening a new ride. So it's not going anywhere just yet. So don't worry about the Pleasure Beach. They've posted this massive loss of 2.7 million, but that's on a turnover of just over 30 million. So that's a pretty big turnover, that, isn't it? Yeah. So they are opening a new ride. It's going to be a massive gyro swing. It's going to be something like 135-foot gyro, a big massive swing. One of those things that makes you sick. It swings up and down like that, and it spins around. So they're going to be sticking one of them in. I'm not quite sure where it's going, because it's a massive ride, but that's what they're doing next year. But they're going to have to make cutbacks, and like I say, they've been doing that for the last few years already, and Coaster Dad does talk about that on his channel. So if you want to find out a little bit more from someone who knows more about the Pleasure Beach, so get following Coaster Dad. So it looks like they're going to have to make a few cutbacks to try to survive, I suppose. Got to be one of the toughest times. I'm just thinking, what was it like during the war? Did the Pleasure Beach close during the war, or did it do quite well during the war? Because Blackpool actually did pretty well during the war, because lots of people came to Blackpool just to get away from lots of army people came here as well to Blackpool during the war years. So I don't know if the war years were tough, actually. We might actually be going through the toughest years right now. So so there is hope. They've got the new ride coming next year, which is good. So they're looking forward. So also it says here from April the 1st, 2025, the national insurance contribution rate for employers will increase. So they're having to pay more for national insurance. The national living wage as well, that's going up. So there's all those things as well. But like I say, they have got the new ride, so it's looking good. It's looking okay. It's not a complete disaster. It's not going anywhere. The Pleasure Beach isn't going anywhere. It's been here for almost 130 years, and I'm sure it'll be here for a lot longer yet. But yeah, there was a park in South West Wales that shut down, wasn't it? So it is pretty tough. But I'm pretty hopeful that Blackpool Pleasure Beach will be here. It's very important to Blackpool, of course. We're here in the southern, obviously South Promenade. Not that many people come down this part of Blackpool is pretty quiet compared to the main drag. You know, between sort of the main drag, I would say, between Central Pier and North Pier, that's where most people seem to come, but you don't really get a whole lot of people down here. And I did mention this Ocean Boulevard along here, in fact, all of these units here ended up empty. They built this around about the same time as the big one. All this here, these units were meant to be shops and souvenir shops and cafes and all that sort of thing. But they're looking to do something with this and turn it into like an apart hotel, you know, like an addition to the boulevard. So they're going to do that as well. So yeah, the Pleasure Beach is not going anywhere. Does anyone remember what used to be on these two plinths here, just in front of the Pleasure Beach? Well, I can show you. It was an art display as part of the Great Promenade show, along with many others down here, and it was called Life as a Circus, Sir Peter Blake, OBE, and it was installed in 2004. Sculptures of circus acts. And they stood right here on these two plinths, yeah, and they had to take them off because somebody tried to steal them, didn't they? I don't know if you can see up here where they had to cut them off, and they ended up having to put them into the council offices in town, yeah, for safety, so no one nicked them. Unbelievable. So there you go, that's it for this video. Blackpool Pleasure Beach's £2.7 million loss. Yeah, it's a lot of money to lose, isn't it? Yeah, but like I say, the Pleasure Beach has been here for 130 years. I'm pretty confident that they can get over this. I'm looking forward to going again, actually. I think I need to get myself back in there again, don't I? Yeah, anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you do, hit the like button and also hit subscribe and tick the bell for notifications of new videos, and I'll see you again on the next one.